Hello and welcome to my course, Learn Marketing Automation. My name is Richard. I am the founder and CEO of VBOUT. VBOUT is a marketing automation stack, one of the leading marketing automation platforms on the market. Now, I've spent the last 8 years building the tech, working closely with thousands of clients, building campaigns that worked really well as campaigns that failed. I've raised money, so I've been on this roadshow and I've been following and building consistently. I love this, and I've kind of summarized everything that I've learned until today into this 4-hour course, which is broken down into 5 modules. On the first module, I'll be diving into introduction to marketing automation. What is it, how you can approach it, and how you can understand the jargon. Now, if you're a beginner, this is a perfect module for you. If you're not a beginner and you already know what marketing automation is, you can at least see how I define it as a person who is building the tech and implementing it at the same time. So either way, I think I got you both covered, and at least you approach it almost like a new cooking style or a cooking technique. I'm just like any other expert out there. However, my expertise as a chef in marketing automation is completely different. So look at it that way. Second module, I'm going to be talking about contact data, the lead flow, how leads are coming in from where, and how systems can be easily integrated nowadays to create an awesome orchestra of lead flow. And lead scoring, an amazing tech that's literally sitting out there and scoring your leads based on their engagement. The third module will be talking about aligning content with buyer stage and how to build assets that are going to convert. And this is critical because a lot of people send the wrong message to the wrong audience at the wrong time. So knowing who you're speaking to, who is your target persona, and I know in the previous modules from my awesome co-speakers, they've talked a lot about aligning the content and knowing who you're speaking to. I won't necessarily be diving too deep into the persona, but I just want you to know that the content that are going to be included inside your flows, your drips, your emails, they need to speak to your persona who is in a specific buying stage, and I'm going to dive into that. We're also going to be talking in Module 4 about the strategies of marketing funnels, marketing campaigns. And I know there's a lot of definitions for what marketing funnels. Obviously, Russell Brunson has done a lot of marketing and built the entire business around funnels. I'm going to share with you what funnels are, how you can approach them, how you can build them, and how you can sell them. So I have some recipes already ready for you. You can take them and resell them or apply them for your business. Finally, I'm going to take everything that we covered and I'm going to show you how you can implement them inside the VBOUT marketing stack. Now, if you're using something else, whatever I'm going to teach you is still going to apply, but I do focus on VBOUT in that 5th module, particularly because we've built everything that we need on the different channels and different aspects. So with that, you'll learn how to build them. You know how the tech relates to everything else. So at the end of it, you're going to come up as an expert, whether it is you're going to be an expert for your company and apply this for your own business, or if you are a digital agency and you want to go out and resell this for your clients as an offering, you're gonna either way walk out with tons and tons of value from this. Module 1, Introduction to Marketing Automation. I'll be talking about what is marketing automation, who can benefit from it, do you need it as a business, understanding the jargon used in this world, and how marketers make everything so complicated with the jargon. So I'll clarify that for you as well. An introduction to the visual builder of how you can build it out using drag and drop. No need for development, coding, designers, any of this stuff. All right. So what is marketing automation? I'm going to start by telling you what it's not. It's actually not a machine sitting in the background generating revenue for you, right? That's not what marketing automation is. In fact, if you've seen any of these ads start saying, hey, I've gotten this system that's just going to be sitting out there, it's going to make you millions of dollars, you just have to pay me so you can know what that system is, that's probably you're paying, that's the system itself, you paying them. Actually, what automation is literally taking processes that produces results, like sending out emails every day for people who have a birthday, following up with the drip campaign to people who fill out a form, and getting to the end result, which is awareness and retention, to actually doing it in an automated way that's more structured, more consistent, and you can shift your efficiency and apply it on other parts of the business that are going to produce results. That's literally what marketing automation is. It's not rocket science. It's just pure logic and a pure focus on efficiency and increased results. A lot of companies ask us, can we benefit from marketing automation? And I say any business with an online presence should be using marketing automation. 100%, hands down. And I'm going to tell you why. This is a good chart, a study done by a competitor of ours actually, who's really good. And what they do, we have saving time is one of the biggest benefits in marketing automation. Why? Because you're going to have the machine doing a lot of the repetitive tasks, decision making for you, and sending the messages to your target audience. So not doing that manually on a day-to-day basis saves a lot of time. Increasing lead generation, I can guarantee you that any company that properly implements marketing automation will witness a boost in lead generation. I've seen companies move from generating 0 leads per day to generating hundreds and thousands of leads per day. So once you implement this effectively for your business, you can see amazing results. Obviously, all this stuff can increase revenue and customer retention. That's really important because it takes a lot of effort and money to acquire a client, and marketing automation can be deployed to actually retain clients. Now, there are businesses who deploy it and do not find results, and that's normal with anything. Just like you have people who participate in a gym and they never see results. People who take diet programs and they never lose any weight. So just like everything else, you have a chunk of people who never benefit from it. And this is why this course is essential, because once you know the basics, you know how to approach it, you're going to find fantastic results. Now, we've worked with different sorts of businesses. Don't think that it's strictly B2B or B2C. This is an example of a restaurant who used marketing automation and increased their order online by 12%. Another park, this is actually trampoline park, they increased their revenue by 300% when using marketing automation. This is a cloud kitchen that literally just doesn't have any physical kitchens. They just buy space in kitchens and they resell their products. They increased and opened up 30 restaurants in 5 months using marketing automation. And I can go on and on. This is staffing agencies that increased their team efficiency. And another client was a digital agency and was able to upsell the client by creating an amazing marketing automation offering. This can be for any business. So if you ask me again, I'll tell you, yes, it applies for your business, especially if you're concerned about time saving, lead generation, increase in revenue, retention, and shortening the life cycle of the sale. All right, let's talk about the jargon a little bit. There's a lot of different terms and keywords used. However, the top platforms on the market might be using the same terminology. So let me introduce you to them. The first thing that you might hear is a trigger. So what's a trigger in marketing automation? Very simple. A trigger is what starts a workflow. Meaning, if you have a sequence of events that needs to happen when somebody fills out a form on your website, the fact or the action of filling out the form on the website, that's what triggers a whole bunch of sequences after. If somebody opens an email, that could be a trigger. If someone visits your homepage, that could be another trigger. And I can go on and on and on. Now, so a trigger is what begins the automation. And these could be a combination of things. Actions with an email, engagement on the website, general filters, and so on. I'm going to talk about that in depth. Actions are the sequences of events that take place. So I want to differentiate between internal automations that can be used internally within the team for efficiency reasons. For instance, if a lead came in from the East Coast, I'm going to assign it to my East Coast team and have them get notified of that lead. That's an internal automation. But then I can send an email to this lead telling them, thank you for filling out the form, we'll be in touch soon. That's an external automation. I'm reaching out to the client. I can send them an SMS follow-up. I can perhaps add a tag to their profile. I can even add them to a Facebook ad. So these are the actions that happen as soon as the trigger has taken place. So again, these are internal automations for efficiency and external automation that actually reaches out to the client. And a particular automation can be a combination of both. And we're going to be diving into this when we talk about the funnels and how you can implement them. Delays, these are actually the cadences or the time difference between action 1 and action 2. So I'll come back to my example. John fills out a form on my website. 5 minutes later, he gets an email. 2 days later, he gets another follow-up email. And a week later, he gets an SMS message from me. Those delays between the actions are referred to as delays. And there's different kinds. There's date delays and specific dates. And I'll cover that. But delays are technically really essential when you are orchestrating and building your automations. All right, so we have conditions and filters. So the conditions are, specific actions or specific data points that makes the flow or the workflow change direction, stop, or continue. For example, John fills out the form. John gets an email 5 minutes later. And then 3 days later, if John did not open the first email, he can get a follow-up. That's a condition. That's a filter, right? You can refer to it either way. Or maybe if John visited my website, I can send them email number 3. Or perhaps John clicked on a link inside the email. I can send John an SMS a week later. So these are the conditions that apply as you're building the automations. Tags or tagging. So the tagging is technically a label that you put on someone or inside someone's profile. For instance, John filled out a form. He got an SMS message or an email 5 minutes later. I can do a condition. Let's say John is from the East Coast. I can add a tag to John's profile, East Coast. And a tag can be anything. It can be for your own internal reference. It could be something that identifies what the lead is. It could be something that you guys work on internally as a team. You just think about it as a label that will help you in your filters and your segmentations and so on. Now, finally, I have workflows, drips, funnels, journeys. Honestly, whatever you hear, these are all the same concepts. And technically, if you're looking at a particular workflow, it includes everything that you see above. That's literally what a workflow is. So you have a combination of triggers and actions and delays and conditions and tags. These are all within a particular automation. And you can have within the automation different workflows. I'm going to dive into that. So this is, for instance, a sequence. You've seen these flow charts a lot. And it can have a condition here. It can have a delay here. Everything you see is an automation or a workflow in this case. Okay. Some people call them drips because they drip the content bit by bit. Some call them funnels. Some call them journeys. I like to work with automations and workflows. Okay. But if you hear me refer to them to other things as we go, please know that I'm talking about the same exact thing. All right, 2 more things actually. Forking or branching. This is when you have a specific action and then you check 2 days later if they opened. If yes, you send them this way. If no, then you send them a different route. So this is called branching or forking the workflow. And that's either forked 2 ways. You can actually go 3 ways and you can continue in different directions building this. And that's very easy to do. I'm going to be covering all that stuff and showing you how these jargons actually apply. And finally, if you hear the word omnichannel, that means it's just the communicating with your clients. And let me remove this drawing here. If you hear omnichannel, multi-channel marketing, this is literally you communicating with your contacts, your leads through different channels using different workflows. All right, don't get too caught with the terminologies, but what you're going to learn is literally everything that I just described. You're going to learn marketing automation, omni-channel marketing, multi-channel marketing, and so on. Okay, so these are the jargon that I really think you should know and understand. And I'm going to be showing you right now how these translate inside an automation on VBOUT. And by this, I'll also give you an overview which helps you visualize all the stuff that we just talked about. All right, so right now I am on my VBOUT dashboard. I'm going to go ahead and start with an automation. Okay, this is an existing automation. Let me just introduce you. I'm going to remove all that stuff here. Okay. All right, so what you just saw was workflow. All right. This entire thing is your automation canvas, right? This is where the magic happens. This is where you drop all your workflows and triggers. At the top is the naming. I always talk about naming your automations with things you will always remember. So if I come back a year later and I look at this, I'm going to know that this is course recording module 1 sample test. Okay, I will never forget this, and if I want, I can go beyond it and just tag it with my name, although the system already does that for me. All right, the left panel is where I can see all the toolkits that I have, the triggers and the actions. Okay, and on the bottom I have some of the controls, because some automations and workflows can actually go on very long. So if you want, you can zoom in, zoom out, and manage this from the bottom right. Right, so these are the bottom right controls. On the top, you have your publishing and updating and that sort of housekeeping stuff. And finally, you have history, versioning. And this doesn't come with any system. We have it built in into VBOUT, so you can kind of go back and revert to previous versions of the same workflow in case you're working on it with a team and somebody makes a mistake, obviously. All right, so let's look at our triggers. So again, I had mentioned that triggers are things that happen before the workflow takes place. So for instance, when somebody joins or fills out a form, that's a trigger, a very important trigger, actually the most common trigger. If somebody abandons an e-commerce cart, and I'm going to be showing you guys all these different winning workflows that 90% of the successful companies are using heavily, right? So don't worry. Opening an email campaign, clicking on a link inside an email. And also we have something called custom events, which has a lot more. For instance, I can do based on tagging being added. So if I put a tag on a contact, I can actually push them inside a workflow. If they reach a specific lead score, they visit my homepage, they make a specific purchase on my website. So you can get really sophisticated with this under the triggers. And we even have general triggers, which can be just skipping any condition and pushing everybody into a workflow. So as you can see on this particular grid, let me zoom out a little bit. I have 6 different triggers. Okay. Now, once you've set up your triggers, and most of the time you're just going to have one trigger or two. So if you see a lot now, this is just for demo purposes. Let's assume I put on 2 triggers. The next thing I'm going to do, let's keep it 1. I'm going to start with my actions or flows. If somebody fills out a form, what do I do next? So these are my actions. So I can send them an email and click here and link it up. Scroll to the bottom, add a delay. Very simple. I haven't configured anything yet. I'm just building this out as I envision it in my mind, right? I haven't built the email. I haven't configured the delay. I haven't done anything. I'm just building something as simple as when somebody fills out a form, send them an email. A couple of days later, send them a follow-up email. Add them to a retargeting campaign on Facebook. And I think I skipped something, which is notifying the team. So I might as well do that. I can do it this way, or I can actually do it this way. And this is what forking, if else, branching is. Something like this, because I can now continue on the bottom. But VBOUT is flexible enough to let you do it either way. Okay. I can also assign a task to my team and have them follow up with this person as a inside the soft CRM or the task pipeline. Right. Very simple. I just mapped it out. When somebody fills out a form, send them an email. 2 days later, send a follow-up, and sync them to retargeting on Facebook. I can also notify the team, and I'm gonna set them up in a CRM so they will be actually part of my deals pipeline. All right. Now what I've done here, I added my trigger, all the actions. This is a workflow. Okay, this entire thing is a workflow. I can have a completely different workflow, so I can copy paste it, and I can build something completely different below, but I'm not gonna do that now. I'm just gonna stick to this one simple logic that I have. The second thing is configuring this. So what I do here is double click and choose what forms. I have already a lot of forms here. I'm gonna double click to create the email. So I won't be diving into email creation for now, but let's assume I'm just gonna do this email, which I've already created, and it looks pretty complete here to me. Okay. Let's do the delay for 3 days later, and I'm gonna be very specific with the times. I'm gonna just do maybe at 9 a.m. in the morning. Now I've discussed using a specific date, and this is if you want to, let's say, send it on, if you're doing an event and you want to send a reminder on the date or a specific date, you can use that. But I'm just gonna stick to the existing 3 days later. I'm gonna do the other email, and I'm gonna sync to retargeting. So as you can see, guys, I'm really not doing anything rocket science here. I'm just dragging and dropping. I'm configuring each stage. The only thing that I would say that I have in my mind is knowing the ingredients I'm working with, and knowing that I can reach people via email, via browser push, via SMS, via retargeting, tagging, assigning things to the team. And these are the power things that you have in the VBOUT platform. And if you're using something else, you should seek that inside the automation that you're using. Okay, so now I can send an email to myself, and I can even put in, some additional merge tags that identify the person that joined. Okay. Finally, I'm gonna assign this to myself, or let's assign it to someone else on the team. So I'm gonna plug in the name of the person, full name, deal. Oops, sorry. Assign it to Brooks. I'm gonna put it inside the task board called client onboarding, and maybe just put them in session 3 stage. I can leave the other stuff and put a note here. That's all. I literally just created a workflow that if you need to apply or do this manually, it will take you hours and days to do this. Not only this, you're gonna keep on doing it every day. So when somebody fills out a form, you send them an email, you tell the team, you open a task, you fills it up on your pipeline. A few days later, you send the follow-up. I think you get the gist here, right? All this stuff is fully automated now. All I need to do is just sit back and see how this is kind of executing on a day-to-day basis, right? So that's it. This is a quick introduction to VBOUT. There's a lot more to this that you can explore, and I'm going to have sessions more in depth later in module number 5 that's going to be really discussing building these automations in depth for different industries and different purposes.